Hi, everyone. Welcome to New Wave Media, episode number 14. Just kidding. It's episode number 15. I am your host, George Padilla. I am here with our co-host, Elijah Lundgren.
What's up, George?
And we are here with our special guest today, Oshen. I don't know your last name.
Davidson.
Davidson.
Yes.
Boom.
Hello.
There it is.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to our podcast. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you for watching us struggle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best part.
It's been great.
It's how we pay people. They get to watch us struggle.
Free entertainment.
Exactly.
Well, let's get started. Tell us a little bit about you. We know that you are, into photography, and we would love to learn more a little bit about you so that, everybody can also know. So
Yeah. So I'm an elopement photographer in Portland and Iceland. Currently in the process of moving everything just to Portland. But I've been shooting for about 4.5 years and been doing photography since like 2008. And yeah, I've been doing just elopements for the last couple of years. And I really love the intimacy and I love the fact that elopements are really connection centered and intentional. And so that's kind of what made me kind of transition into that.
I love that.
Yeah.
that's awesome.
It's been fun.
I love how you just threw in and Iceland. Like,
And Iceland, which is what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
I was like, so tell us a little bit more about Iceland. Like, I've never been.
I feel like Iceland is one of those, like, if you say the word Iceland to any photographer, they're like, oh, what?
Oh, yeah.
That is on my bucket
Let's
list.
talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us
I'm sure you love talking about it.
about Iceland, and then tell us if there's anything else on your bucket list outside of Iceland.
Yeah, Iceland. I don't know where to start.
Wow, you sound so excited.
I don't know where to start. Iceland is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll start there. It's beautiful. I definitely think it's like one of those places that is every photographer's dream to shoot at. Landscapes are just like insane, especially for photographers that do elopements or like intimate weddings. Like being able to put yourself and your couple in like such a vast landscape is just, I don't know, there's something really special about that. And I think it really allows the couple to really focus on themselves and not have to worry about all the commotion going on around them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, I've been shooting in Iceland for like the last 3 years. It's definitely one of my favorite places to shoot. I think now that the pandemic, I don't know if it's officially over or not.
I think, like, governmentally speaking,
it's over.
It's over.
Okay.
It's gone.
Okay. So I would say, like, in the beginning when I was shooting during COVID, and they still had restrictions in place. Like, you would have to present your vaccination card and this and that. And Iceland wasn't as busy, which was really nice for couples that were traveling because they could kind of do, like their wedding and then go into their honeymoon afterwards, which was always like fun for them.
Yeah.
And now that the pandemic is over officially, I think it's become a lot more populated. A lot of the landscapes that were like not gated or they didn't have fences up, all of that stuff. It's kind of cracked down now. So it's a little bit different.
So it's lit in Iceland now. Is what you're saying.
Definitely. And I remember one time I went to this canyon and it was like just a couple and myself, and there was probably about like 60 to 100 people there at this canyon. And there was like this little railing you could walk out on, and the canyon was like right in front of you. And I think when I was photographing them, I had about like 20 to 30 other people, just like tourists, just photographing them at the same time. Because, like for people that are not American, like when they see somebody getting married somewhere crazy, they're like, oh my God, this is so wild.
Yeah, for real.
And they're like taking pictures and everything, asking for selfies. It's like almost like a little celeb moment for the couple.
Right.
With
paparazzi.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, that's crazy. I never even thought of that. That makes a lot of sense though.
Yeah.
So you've been doing that part of your business for 3 years, you said?
Yeah, about 3 years.
So it's 2023. That means you started doing that like during COVID.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's maybe kind of a great like time to start doing that, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did your weddings when there was not enough people out, and when was the last time you did a wedding, an elopement out in Iceland? And between the two you mentioned there's a big difference.
Yeah.
But, well, I guess you answered that question.
Yeah, no, like the last time I was in Iceland was at the end of June. I want to say like the 26th, 27th. And specifically because, you know, summer tourism, it's like just booming right now.
Yeah, that's the busy season there.
Summer's like the busy season. Yeah. Because, you know, it's very far north. So if you think about, you know, similar to like how Alaska is in the summertime, like there's very little like darkness.
Yeah.
And so you can go out hiking at like 10, 11 o'clock at night and like,
Oh, wow.
it's just
That's
like
crazy.
dusk. Like it doesn't actually ever get dark.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so the summertime is like the busiest time in Iceland. But yeah, shooting in June of this last June compared to like September, I think September 2020, it was just like, it's just such a big difference.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that within the last year, just with like not border control, but border regulations like loosening and stuff.
Yeah.
I've really been trying to like inspire my couples to get outside of like the popular tourist destinations,
Yeah.
you know, like the Black Sand Beach, like Reynisfjara, like that's a very popular spot. It's beautiful. But I tell people like, if this is something that is on your bucket list, like let's go really early in the morning or really late at night so we can
Yeah.
avoid the crowds, because otherwise you don't really get like that one-on-one like private time that you really want.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people like to go and do like these adventure elopements and really like trek out far, is because they
Right.
want that privacy and seclusion, you know?
So do you know some of the like the secret spots out there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've spent so much time like just
That's
like
so cool.
hiking and like
Yeah.
traveling through there. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to have you like give me an itinerary.
Oh, I have a Google Maps like ready to go.
Oh, and you got
Yeah.
like saved places and
Yep.
pins and everything.
Oh
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's super
Yeah.
cool.
I've always been interested in kind of pivoting into like the elopement space versus the like large scale wedding space for exactly the same reason. Like the intimacy and how small it is, and like it's so much more personal between your
Yeah.
couple and you. And I think that like anytime I've had an opportunity to do something like that, it's really made it easier to like really like unleash my own creativity versus like in a wedding, like a 200 I did a 280 person wedding this last weekend.
Yeah.
You're just like on autopilot. Like there's no like, I mean, there's a little bit of creativity
Yeah.
during like formals and that kind of thing,
Yeah.
but like you just have to get so much stuff. And I feel like elopements are like so much more like personal and like creative. You have so much more room for that.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I think that was the big thing for me was like, one, you know, when I first started doing weddings, like, I'm not going to lie, I think I maybe did like 3 big weddings on my own. And I was like, this is not my thing. But I liked photographing, you know, like connection and relationships. And like, I was like, how can I do this without like having to do like a 300 person wedding? Cause that's,
Yeah.
to me, that's like my personal hell.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
no.
That's too many people
Like,
for me too.
I will not do it for any amount of money. Like, it's not my thing. And I think that like one thing I was noticing with couples, because I was also doing some like second shooting and stuff for like bigger weddings at the time. And I was finding that like a lot of couples were like stressed the hell out. Like
Oh, yeah.
it was like
Yeah, oh, yeah.
it was like a chicken running around with its head cut off. It was just like
Yeah.
all directions. Like someone's late, someone's behind. Like nobody knows where like X, Y, and Z is. Like it was just chaos.
Yeah,
And
we have a timeline. We don't go
exactly,
by it at all. Yeah.
exactly. And I think that was a big thing that I was just like, wow, like the couple has been playing, you know, like basically it's like speed dating. Like that's
Yeah.
how I think of like a big wedding is like during the receptions, like you have all these people that just like either traveled or they came in to like celebrate with you. And it's like, you have the ceremony, right? And then like after the ceremony, the couple basically like divides and then like they go and like make their rounds.
Yeah, they do the greeting
Exactly.
and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. And like to me, I was like, damn, like that sucks, man. Like,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
when they don't really even get to sit down and enjoy their day until
No.
like dinner.
Yeah.
But they have like dinner and then they have to go dance in front of everybody and they
Yeah.
have to do all this. Like it's almost like you're entertaining, like literally the entertainment.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
The last wedding sorry, not photographed. The last wedding I attended to as a guest was down in California, and the entirety of the time probably for like 15 seconds in the whole entire wedding did we get to say hi and bye to the bride and groom.
Yeah. Damn.
And then on the other side, as a photographer, you're with them like the entire day.
Yeah.
So like I never really got to see that other side in the recent times here where it's like, oh wow, like people actually don't get to see them that often.
Yeah.
Like one-on-one conversations is what I mean. But yeah, it's just kind of mind-blowing to
experience. Yeah.
So you do a lot of the planning for your elopements,
Yes.
right? So can you tell me what that's like?
Oh my goodness.
How is that? How does that work?
So like the way that I see it is like if someone's going to hire me for their elopement, and especially because most of my work has been in Iceland for the last like 3 years, right? Most of the couples that come to Iceland, they're not from Iceland.
Yeah.
Like I've had a couple from the Philippines and I've had a couple from, I think, the UK, and then everybody else is usually somewhere in like the US. And so a lot of the times it's coming to Iceland is like their first time they've been there. And so they've done like all of the Facebook groups, looking at the cool spots. They've done all the research, but they only know like what is publicly like shared information. And so that also equates to like the really popular places. And so I think like really early on when I started doing elopements in general, I wanted my couples to I wanted to build like that trust with them, and I wanted them to really see me as the expert. And so even before Iceland, like I remember I was like shooting a lot up north in like Mount Baker area, like North Cascades, and like I would go out ahead of time and I would like do the research, figure out the locations that I could suggest to them, and kind of start finding a way to really craft like this like planning expertise to be able to like offer it to them. And so with Iceland, I have like a lot of friends in Iceland, and so I just became friends with like more vendors, and like just really like looked at places that you wouldn't find online, and I would go to like local, like whenever I was there, I would go to like local businesses and just like talk to them and just, be like, hey, like I'm a photographer, I'd love to partner with you. And just kind of like build that relationship. And the planning process, it's pretty extensive. I think it's one of those things that's like you're continually like perfecting over time, no matter like how long you've been doing it. Of course, you're always finding ways to improve it. And so I think for me, the biggest thing is like, I do like a lot of questionnaires, and it's all about like crafting their vision. And like, sometimes I'll have couples who know what they want. They'll be like, I want X, Y, and Z. This is the vibe I want, et cetera, et cetera. And then I have couples who are like, we want the beautiful, like countryside. That's about it. We want it to be chill and stress-free and dreamy and like ethereal. Like that's a lot of the adjectives I get when people like fill out the questionnaire. But I find that, for the couples that don't know really what they want in terms of like a vision, like my job is to like help them create that. And so it's like, my goal is to like try to inspire and kind of spark like their imagination. Like if the options were limitless, like where would you go with this? Like what would you want to do? And like, do you want to have like a picnic midday? Like imagine charcuterie board, like all these little things. Like, do you want to like, like take a shot together, like all these like little things, like, and so I always just come up with like little ideas for them based off of like their vibe and their aesthetic and everything. And really just kind of help them like craft the vision that they already kind of have fragments of in their head, bring it all together. And then, additionally, one big thing that like I really enjoy, and I think that it's really changed the way that I photograph, is rather than just, asking them like questions related to the actual elopement, like I really focus on getting to know them as individuals and then also as a couple. So I have them do like a love language quiz. Like I have them do like all these like little fun things. Like what's one thing that you could like not live without? Like if you had to go to an island, and I do have this in my questionnaire. It's like, if you have to go to an island and you have water and food, so like you can survive, like, but what's one thing that you're going to take with you? Yeah. And
what's a common answer? Do you have like common answers on that, or is it always something different?
I think I've gotten like a lot of like books. Yeah, but I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. So I've gotten a lot of like books, animals, like cats and dogs, stuff like that. I'd
totally bring Fred. He's my dog.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's his best dog.
Oh.
Out of 3.
Out of 3.
The best one.
Fred's number 1 for sure.
I got sidetracked, my friend. I had a question I wanted to ask
Yeah.
you. Oh, I wanted to say, like, out of like all the weddings you've done in Iceland, is there one that really stands out?
You know,
Or not even just in Iceland, but just like
In general.
your career.
yeah. I think one that really stands out, and I think it stands out solely for the fact that it was like I felt like it was like, not only did I like photograph like my best work from it, but I think that like it was really like my first time, like since adopting the way I was planning, like since the adoption of my planning process. And it was a couple from the Philippines. One was Filipino, the other one was American. And it was like jumping through hoops trying to get this thing to happen the way it was supposed to happen. And like, I'll share some context because it's kind of wild. But so they came from the Philippines, and they were planning on having like a big Filipino wedding, but they were a gay couple, and like gay marriage is illegal in the Philippines, so they couldn't do it there.
Yeah.
Okay. Granted, one of them was American, the other one was Filipino.
Right.
So during the process of planning, I was trying to help them get their marriage paperwork so that they could get married in Iceland. And I work with like the celebrants there and all of that, but we couldn't get a document from some random state in the Midwest. Couldn't get a document for the American guy. So I was like, all right, what are we gonna do? Cause like, how are they gonna get married?
Right.
You know? So I found, and this is like during COVID, this is probably the most wild thing I've done, but I found a law in Utah that allows you to get married virtually without either party being in Utah.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Okay.
Only the officiant, you know, has to be in Utah.
Wow.
And so they ended up doing the legal part over Zoom while they were in Iceland.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, and this was like a last minute thing. Like this was like, I want to say like 3 or 4 days before we like basically like pulled this
The
together.
officiant was in Utah.
Yeah.
Everybody was in Iceland
Yeah.
over Zoom. That is wild.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think for me, you know, like not just that, but also the coordination. Like one thing that I do now is like, I also do like charcuterie boards and stuff as like an add-on. And that was like the first time I had like offered that. And so it was just, I don't know, I was like so well prepared for this.
And probably so inspired.
I was so inspired.
Yeah.
Yes, I was definitely inspired. And we went to like all these beautiful locations, and this was before it was very crowded. So, you know, we could go to some of the more popular spots. But a lot of, actually like a good amount of that work was actually featured in Rangefinder, which was really
Wow.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that was just kind of like, you know, also like made me feel like, so I was like, hell yeah. Like one of my favorite things,
Right.
you know? And
Yeah.
so
That's awesome.
yeah, it's definitely magical.
One question.
Yeah.
So officiating, the
Yes.
officiant part of that process, how does that normally work?
Like in Iceland or like in general?
Well, I know how it works in general. But in an elopement, like,
Yeah.
do you have an officiant come with you, or?
Yeah, it depends.
Okay.
It like entirely depends. So I would say like some of the factors that kind of determine the process is like, one, like how remote are we going to be? Is it somewhere that's like, you know, just like a 1 mile, like little hike, like cool, easy. Sometimes, you know, if it's quick and it makes sense to hire somebody, they'll hire an officiant and the officiant will come with. Otherwise, I'm also like an officiant too. So I can
okay.
So I can like marry my couples if need be.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah. And
That's pretty
You're
cool.
like a one-stop shop
Yeah.
over here.
Set up your camera on time-lapse mode and just like,
yeah, no, totally. Like I've had to do that before. Like I've like, usually I'll have like a backup camera doing like behind the scenes and like, I'll just put it on like a little tripod and record myself. And I always tell my couples, if they want me to officiate, like I tell them, because when I'm shooting, I get like so into it, like I can't really carry a conversation. I'm like, I will like help prepare you, but you're going to be leading your own ceremony. I'm just making it legal.
Right.
And like, I give them that, you know, cause I mean,
oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You can still photograph, but be the officiant,
Yes.
and they can just do everything and you
Yes.
sign off on it kind
basically
of thing.
100%.
Oh, that makes
So
sense.
it makes it super easy.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the times I'll have couples too, you know, who, that like it's just the two of them and they won't have like witnesses or whatever. But there's usually people like around or passerbys, people on the trails. And like, I swear to God, some of the people on the trails, like if you ask them to be a witness, like and sign, they get so pumped.
Oh, I bet.
They're like so excited.
What a cool thing to get to
right?
do.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is so cool.
So that's a whole lot of Iceland.
Yes.
Why don't we switch gears a little bit? You were talking about how you're trying to bring your business back to kind of all to Portland. So what are kind of your next steps? What are you looking to do?
Yeah. I think one of the big things that I'm trying to do is I'm actually trying to kind of shift out of weddings entirely. And, I also work in tech full time, work remote, I'm like an SEO manager for a tech company. So I'm busy a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And I just think that, with my business primarily being in Iceland and it's kind of become almost like a little bit too repetitious for me that I feel like it's kind of taken away the creativity, in my work. And so I think for me, like what I'd like to do, in the next coming months, the next year or two is really kind of while I still want to shoot couples here in Portland, I would like to get more into editorial and product and branding and stuff, and just really do stuff that sparks that creativity. And since I haven't shot a whole ton in Oregon, even though I'm from the Northwest, which is kind of embarrassing to admit, but
that's okay.
I think that
embarrassing to admit that you're here or that your work hasn't you haven't explored.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't really explored as much. Even though I know all these places, it's I haven't really I've only been to the places. I haven't really photographed a lot of people around here. And so I think it'll be fun to do that, but definitely eventually I'd like to completely beeline and pivot out of weddings in general.
Do you have any any inspiration or kind of sources of inspiration for those editorial or those products?
Oh yes, 100%. So one of my favorite photographers, Jürgen Teller, they're a photographer for Marc Jacobs, and they were one of my biggest sources of inspiration as a kid. I remember being 14 and 15 and I would look at the Marc Jacobs ads and see the way Kate Moss was positioned, and it was just so odd and not a typical photo shoot. And so when I would look at these images, I was like, wow, this is friggin' weird and I love it. And it would be really crazy colors and just really abstract. And I think for me, that's something that's really inspired, really kind of inspired where I want to go with photography. But then also I think overall, my biggest source of inspiration is really film. I'm a big cinephile, I'm a big movie gal. And so I think for me, and I could say that this is something that I always kind of keep in my mind, even as I've been doing weddings for the last couple of years, is the way that I photograph is I want it to be a movie still. I want it to be just a still frame.
Yeah.
And I think
that cinematic look.
Yes, 100%. And I think that that's a big inspiration. And I think that some of that vibe, that nostalgic and gritty and really raw vibe, that's also something I want to bring into editorial and even product photography too.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you ever, or when you experience burnout?
Yes.
How do you handle that?
Burnout. So
it's the bane of all photographers.
It really is though. Yeah. I think honestly, I feel my burnout now is it's actually like pretty minimal compared to like how it used to be. I think before, and by before I mean I don't know, 2021, maybe half of 2022, if that. I think for me, I did not have a good work-life balance, at all, and before I was working in tech, I was just doing photography. So I was I felt like I was on call,
Right.
I was on call 24/7. If I got an inquiry, I would respond immediately. I did not.
That's this guy.
I still do that.
Yeah. I did not take any time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Man, you got to have office hours.
Yeah. And I had no boundaries. I was like, boundaries, what's that? Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the biggest things for me was last year in 2022, earlier in the year, the first thing that I was able to like let go of and like forfeit control was like Instagram. And like, I think for me, you know, for me, like being an elopement photographer and, I'm not as much on Instagram like as I was before, but previously, you know, just like scrolling and like talking with other photographers and like you see this work and you're inspired, but then you're also like judging your own work and like playing the comparison game. And I think like the best thing that I've done for like myself as like a business owner and my mental health was like outsource it. Like my business Instagram, I ended up like, you know, hiring somebody to do like my reels for me. I was like, I don't have time to do this. And once I did that, then I was like, okay, I need somebody else who's gonna like engage and like keep this account active, because like I just don't have the time, nor do I really have the desire to just like be on my phone 24/7. And so I started doing that, and I think now, you know, like fast forward like a year later, I think for me the biggest thing is like understanding that like not everything is immediate, like unless it's literally an emergency. And so like if I get an inquiry, or if something needs to be like, you know, somebody messages me online, like I have really good boundaries now. So like preventing burnout is a lot easier than it used to be. But I think a big thing too is just like finding things that you like to do outside of like your work, because photography, it's, you know, most people, and like I can't speak for everybody, but like the way I see it is like people that do photography, it's also like a passion and a hobby that they like, it's kind of like where it like originated from, you know? And so they took their passion and it's like, how can I profit off of this? How can I like make this sustainable? And I think for me, you know, when I was having like constant burnout, it was because I was like trying to put all my eggs into one basket, and I wasn't really like viewing it from like a lens of like creativity, and it was more of like just business. And I think like shifting my mindset.
Feel that so deep.
And it's hard though. Like I think that's something that's like, it's easier said than done, because especially, you know, if you're starting a business or you relocate, whenever you're making a big change to a business, whether it's, you know, creating it or moving it around, you really have to like go all in to get like traction, you know, or figure out how you're going to get traction. Because otherwise, if that's like what you're relying on as like a main source of income, you know, it can just be like really intimidating and really like draining for you, you know, just like you're like, well, I got to pay my bills. Like I have to hustle. It's like that hustle mentality.
I have to do this job or else I just can't.
You can't eat.
There's for sure,
no food.
Yeah, exactly. There's definitely days like that. And I tell George often, like, I really wish that it was in me to go out and like take pictures for fun. Like I don't do that. You know, even like I've tried doing the film thing to go do that for fun. I don't stick to it. Like, or I'll go out with a digital camera that's not my like work camera, and then I just never do anything with any of those pictures. And it's just like, it sucks, man. I think the thing for me that has kind of like given me a little bit of variety and given me a little bit more of like a spark of creativity is getting into video recently. Like that has, I feel like I'm a new photographer again. Like I'm learning something new every single day.
See, when you started doing video, I've told you this many times, like I genuinely feel like your composition has changed.
That's
not
awesome.
only because you switched a whole different, like, and I'm not talking bad about the previous camera or anything.
You're hurting my feelings.
I just mean that in like when you get a new toy, you have a new like mentality and inspiration and all of that.
Well, yeah, and those things kind of came hand in hand. I switched systems and then started shooting kind of hybrid. I shoot photos and videos now with that system. So but yeah, I mean, I was really resistant to it for a really long time because I was like, I'm a photographer. Like, I don't need to do that shit. But I'm really glad that I did start dabbling in it, because it was like, it's been like a landslide. Like I started and it's just been like constantly more and more and more. Like, I mean, both of the events that we had here, like George was running around taking pictures with people, and I literally like didn't take my video rig apart. I just walked around with my camera and just took video the entire time. And we've put so much content together from all that video.
Awesome.
Like, it's just, it's such a good thing to have.
It's like in the same genre of things, but it's like it doesn't feel like you're working.
Yeah.
It feels like it's a hobby at the same time. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
But
No. Like, I think that totally makes sense. I think for me, like one big thing that I started doing, I want to say it was also 2020, I believe. But I had like always shot film, never did it for weddings. Like I just did it for fun. And I got really into street photography. And I became like one of those people that was like collecting film cameras. Like I was just going through it, and I found that like the only time that I was photographing when I was not working was I would just like go outside and go on a walk and just like shoot whatever came to mind. If I'm like, oh, that's a cool house, let's take a picture. And I was just like going through rolls and rolls. I was shooting, like I was getting stuff developed on the reg, and I would say I would drop off like 6 rolls at a time. Jeez. And it was just like nonstop.
Were you getting scans or prints?
I was getting scans.
Okay.
Yeah.
So expensive.
See, I was experiencing burnout for a while, and then I was just kind of like collecting cameras, trying to find the right one.
Yeah.
With the mindset of like, I want to take one to a wedding, and that's what I want to do, is like kind of do both. But then I realized like there was a certain camera that I bought and got rid of literally 3 different times. And like on my 4th time, I was like, I'm getting this camera because I know this camera and I loved it every single time.
And it's sitting over there.
What camera was it?
Yeah, the Mamiya RB67.
Yeah, I called it out earlier. I saw it.
That's the first thing she did when she walked in the door. She was like, "Who's Mamiya?"
I was like, is that an RB67?
Yeah. So like that camera has really helped me, you know, between a hobby and between like work.
Yeah.
And when I use that camera, it's for fun. It's for myself. It can be landscapes. It can be this car on the road. It can be anything.
Yeah.
We went camping and I took it, and I was like, every single time I was able to slow down, process, and just, that was my hobby.
It was
even
cool.
though it was
cool to watch too. Like it was cool to like, cause I wasn't messing with it. I was just sitting in a chair getting drunk.
Yeah.
So seriously, it was cool to sit there and like watch you know, meter and like really compose and like really think through it. You know,
it was so much fun, and like I've used it before, but like not at this level where it's just more of a freedom way to do it. It's not work, and I loved every minute. And I mean, it's still there. I have it.
Yeah.
And I pretty much would only take it out now whenever I know we're going on a special moment or trip, camping, whatever, because I can still do photography. It's just not work.
Yeah.
You know, I can take my digital, but it's like, oh, I feel like I have to go edit these now.
Yes, 100%. And like, that's the thing is like, I don't know, having like that pressure to edit, even if it's like well composed, you know, like everything's good. You're like, oh, but it's like digital. Like I should do something to it.
Yeah.
Or it should be in my style. Like I can't post something that isn't like my style, because then it's off brand or whatever. Like,
God, I hate that.
I do too. It's the worst.
I need to have a personal Instagram is what I need.
Yeah.
I have one of those. It has 3 pictures on them and they're all like 3 years old. And it's private and I don't use it. So
no, honestly, like shooting film, I think was like one of the biggest things that like, I think the reason why I still photograph weddings is because of saving my sanity by shooting film during COVID.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I need an outlet. I need something that's just like obscure and can be whatever the hell I want it to be. And like weddings, sometimes like you don't get that, you know, like given, you know, the amount of time you have, and like, especially if it's, you know, you have family or people there, it's just kind of like go, go, go.
It's absolutely.
But like film is like, it's so different. I love it.
See, I feel like I need to branch out into elopements, because
elopements are fun.
Here, everything that you've been saying, it's like, I love weddings. I absolutely love being a part of a special day and all that. But I also only really like more the portraits.
Yeah.
The getting ready.
Being able to
the
slow
detail
down
stuff.
and get
slow down and really get creative.
And think about this too. Like how often when we have a wedding, we go and we come back and we're talking about like our weddings for the weekend, and we're like, oh man, there was only like 30 people there. It was fucking awesome.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's always like the best.
Yeah.
It's like weddings just exponentially suck more the more people there are.
Yeah.
So we have a wedding coming up. Man, I think it's like in Mount Hood somewhere, but it's like, from what I remember, that phone call we had was like, you don't know what I'm talking about?
No.
Well, there's like 8 or 12 people there.
Oh yeah. No,
okay.
it's like Southern Oregon.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Southern Oregon?
It's like a 3-hour wedding, and it's in Southern Oregon.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I thought it was up in Mount Hood somewhere, but no, it's gonna be like, I'm looking forward to it. It's only like
it's gonna be
10
awesome.
people, 12 people.
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere.
Sounds
It's gonna be
awesome.
fun.
It's a same-sex wedding too, which I
Oh, that's right.
I don't have that many of those under my
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
portfolio. I really like doing those.
Yeah.
So I've done a few this year.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that wedding for that reason, that I feel like we will be the most creative there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be a rough week.
It will be.
That-
And it's coming up in what,
of
next
burnout,
week?
It's
2 weeks?
next week.
Next week.
Speaking
Oh,
of burnout,
geez.
so the 19th, George and I have to go to Everson, Washington.
Okay.
You know where Everson is?
Yeah, like super far north, right?
Yeah.
Super, like
Yeah.
almost to the border.
Almost like by Bellingham. Yeah.
Yeah, it's northeast of Bellingham.
Ooh, yeah.
So
And it's only like a 5-hour wedding.
Ooh.
yeah, it's a short wedding.
rough.
We have a hotel for the night, but we have to go up there for the night. We come back. I have a shoot in town the next day. And then we have one day off. And then the 22nd is the wedding he's talking about.
Yeah.
We're going to go to Southern Oregon. We're going to go to that wedding. And from there, from that wedding, we drive to the coast to Pacific City, Cape Kiwanda. And we have another wedding to shoot the next day. We're in an Airbnb for 3 days there. And then we come back that Thursday. And then I have like a full day wedding on Saturday.
I have
So-
weddings
it's a
on that
rough week.
weekend too. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I remember until September 2nd, I'm busy as well.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's a
Oh,
lot.
September
a
3rd
lot.
is my next real day off. And that's the weekend my brother will be here, so I'm not really off.
My next
Yeah.
real day off is this Saturday.
You don't have a wedding this Saturday?
No, I don't have anything this week. I have a 1 hour session at Mount Hood this weekend.
Dang.
That's it.
So my
Dang.
only day off is technically, I guess, today and tomorrow, and then Saturday, Sunday I have 2 weddings back to back.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never shoot on the weekends.
See,
That's
we
awesome.
only shoot. Our Monday through Friday is like here doing.
Yeah.
That's actually honestly like the fun part of the week is we
Yeah.
get to be here, we get to create, we get to edit video, we get to do, and we get to catch up on the shit we fall behind on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like Monday through Friday is like the creative, the fun content creation days. And then Saturday, Sunday is the grind.
Yeah.
So
That's great. See, I want that schedule.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
It's nice. I mean, I think a big part like of why I don't shoot on the weekends is because most of the time couples want to go to a place that's like populated
Yeah.
and like busy.
Weekdays,
and I'm
for
like,
sure.
go during the
Yeah.
weekday. Everybody's at work.
See,
That's
I've
the way to
done
do
that.
it.
I've done that here in Portland.
Yeah.
Like during the cherry blossoms, everybody wants to be there.
Yeah.
Especially during sunset.
yeah.
So I was like, hey,
Nobody
on a
wants to be
Tuesday,
there at
let's go at
sunrise.
6 in the morning. Nobody's going to be there.
Yeah.
And I got to do that like one time. Everybody else was like, no, I got to work. Or no,
Yeah,
I got to do this. And it's
Yeah.
like, it's fine. But when it comes my way, I'm like, I love it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the best. But like the way that I do my schedule is like I don't know, it's so nice. Like I don't really even shoot in the summertime. Like my summers are like I feel like a school teacher. Like I get like summers off mostly. And like when I am in Iceland shooting, and like I would say when I say I really only shoot in Iceland at this point, it's the truth. And it's not unfortunate, like, because I'd love to be here, but I travel a lot. Like I've already been back and forth, I want to say like 6 or 7 times this year.
That's crazy.
And whenever I go, like I'll always leave a day in between an elopement, but I'll go like back to back to back. And like the shortest amount of time that I'll be shooting is like 6 hours, which is not common. Most of the time I'm usually doing like a 10-hour elopement.
Yeah.
And like, we also kind of need that time for travel because it's like getting from point A to point B. Sometimes it's up to 2 hours of driving,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know? But yeah, I remember, I want to say it was in April. I had 3 elopements and I was
Back to
there
back.
back to back.
Dang.
And I had, I was there for like, I want to say 9 days and 3 elopements in 9 days. And also you have to remember that when you are like flying there, you leave
Jet lag.
a little bit of jet lag, yeah. But you leave Portland and you leave here and you leave around, I don't know, like 3 or 4 p.m. When you get there, you always land at like 7 a.m. the next day.
Oh, weird.
So it's like the start of a new day,
Yeah.
but it's like technically your night. So it's like So you
man.
got to like nap it out. Like that, like once you land, you're like, all right, I need to sleep.
Yeah.
Like,
That's your whole entire schedule is like flip flopped, and you got to go through these weddings in like short amount of time. Man, that's rough.
yeah,
it's crazy.
lots of driving. Yeah.
Are you? I mean, being a long flight, I'm sure you sleep on the plane.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I can't sleep
sleep
at like
on the
3
plane?
p.m.
Oh my God.
Like,
Okay,
actually,
yeah.
sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll have like a couple drinks and then I'll like
you
then
go.
I'll sleep. But like otherwise, like it's like a work day. You know,
Yeah.
for me, it's like
Yeah.
midday.
See,
It's hard to sleep.
I hate flying, and
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You go. You hate flying.
Rock,
Go
paper,
ahead.
scissors. So I hate flying, and I will always take either a drink or whatnot in hopes of like maybe I'll get too drunk and knock out and go to sleep. I can never go to sleep on a plane.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's like 3 a.m. and I haven't slept in 24 hours. Like my body will not allow me because I feel like this plane's going down and I need to be awake when this happens.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Intense.
Yeah. Anyways.
I am definitely the outlier here. I can be asleep before the plane takes off easily.
So
Jeez.
jealous.
Easy. Just knocked.
Yeah.
It's awful.
I can't do
That is
it.
It's not good, honestly, because then I wake up and I don't know what's going on. At what point in the flight are we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're so like well rested. So it's
It's not good sleep.
okay.
It's just more like I'm turning my brain off.
Yeah.
You know?
That makes sense.
Oh, man. I even try to work on the plane and I just can't.
I always think I'm going to work and I don't do shit.
Nope.
I'm like, let's get my computer. And I'm like, why did I bring this?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I take it out, I open it, and then it's like either the sun is blaring through people's windows or
Yeah.
like I
There's
just,
always
just
a reason.
can't. Yeah.
yeah.
It's dark and your brightness is at 100%, at least minus.
Pissing everybody off.
Yeah. Never works out.
Well, we've asked you a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you want to know from us? It's okay if you don't.
Oh boy.
We're not nearly as interesting, but
Yeah, not at all. But
Yeah. No. I mean, yeah, I can think of some things.
okay.
I want to hear from both of you. You guys can rock, paper, scissors for who goes first.
He goes first.
But
ladies first.
Okay, I'll go first.
if you could pick like one thing to change about like either the way you photograph or like your photography business in general, like what would that be?
Okay, I have one. One having boundaries 100%.
Yeah.
You can
'Cause
change that.
I just don't have the boundary for like, hey, it's 2 a.m. You just message me. I'm going to message you back.
Yeah.
I just have this thing in my head that's
just
like,
eats at you, right?
it's like, well, if I reply, that can be one of two things. It can be like, man, this dude's desperate to get business, or wow, he's so responsive. Like, this is great. And I've had both in my career of photography. Like, because I replied, they're like, wow, you replied so fast. Thank you for the update. This is great. We'd love to move forward. And then there's times where it's like, I hear crickets.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But anyways, that would be one thing that I would want to change. And then two, I would like to kind of
Bonus.
change the way I do weddings. I feel like hearing after what you said, I'm like, man, I need to like branch out in my wedding industry stuff. Like,
Yeah.
that would be fun.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah.
That's kind of the same for me. Like the reason I had so many questions for you is because my like ideal business has always been like, I want to take a couple and go somewhere beautiful and just do that. I don't want to do the every weekend wedding grind.
Family photos.
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll do family photos or whatever, like hour sessions, 2 hour sessions. That's fine. That's like bread and butter. That's like,
Yeah.
Oh, I meant like the family photos at the weddings.
oh, fuck that.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like the worst.
I'm down
it's
for family
absolutely
photos.
the worst.
Like you will
Right.
always have somebody looking the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, well, and
Can we
not to
get
mention,
mom over here?
Yeah, not to
Like-
mention like you have to get them there before they can even look the wrong direction. It's
Yeah.
it's like herding cats. It's the
Yeah.
absolute worst.
Yeah.
But no, it's just I've had some shoots in my career where I've taken a couple somewhere that is like really inspirational to me or something that I'm like really excited about. And those are some of the best photos I've ever taken in my
Yeah.
life. And it's like anytime I have an opportunity to go somewhere amazing with a couple that's amazing and like just do me, it's like my favorite work that I've ever done. And I want like, I would love that to be my business because that's going to like, it's just going to be like bringing out the best in me every time
Yeah.
I go out with my camera. And that's what I want.
Yeah.
This grind is like, it's so autopilot at this point sometimes. And it's like, it's, I want to be inspired
Yeah.
regularly.
Yeah.
Same.
Please,
I have a question
please
really
inspire
quick.
me.
Yeah.
When you do your weddings, are you mostly doing natural light?
Yeah. Always
Okay.
natural light.
Perfect.
Like I have a flash, but like I never use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never,
See,
ever.
I've tried to use flash outdoors, but I feel like one, that's not my style.
Yeah.
I don't like incorporating flash.
Yeah.
Unless it's like at a ceremony and like it's dark. Like I understand that part. But okay, that was just
Yeah.
wanted to know how that worked.
Yeah, I would say like typically, so I used to be, I don't know, this may get some like hate. So I used to be like a Kelvin gal. I would always
Yeah.
shoot in Kelvin, Like, and I used to also use like a video light, like regularly, like
You
if I
shoot in
needed to.
I sometimes shoot in
I
Kelvin.
never shoot in Kelvin. I just shoot in auto.
Yeah,
I'm like,
most of the time I
I'm
shoot
like,
in auto.
I'm like, it's so much easier.
Yeah.
And then if
Yeah.
I need to like change it, you know,
We shoot raw, so
Yeah,
it's like, who
exactly.
cares?
Well,
Yeah.
here's with the RF, mirrorless Canons.
Yeah.
The RF lens has like a outer ring.
Yeah.
I have that for white balance.
oh,
And I have it for auto white balance. It can be like sunny, cloudy.
Yeah.
And it's not, I know we're shooting raw, but I think it visually helps me understand if I'm doing the right thing or not when I can see it in the camera. And I just like flip that ring and I can just cycle through everything.
Yeah.
And it's like,
cool little
it's
feature.
a game changer. Yeah.
Yeah, damn, missing out.
So when I got my Canon, he helped me set it up, and we kind of set it up like his.
Yeah,
And so
smart.
mine is set up the same way with the ring and the white balance, and I fucking hate it.
You hate it. Why?
Because
Are you
I'm
serious?
constantly accidentally switching, and I know that your like solution is to put it in lock mode.
Yeah.
But that locks other things that I don't want it to lock.
No, you have it only lock that.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
And that's what I've
That
it
is
set up
way
for.
too many. Like, I shouldn't have to have that many like variables to use one setting.
Yeah.
You know.
No,
like,
I feel you. I did actually when I was here a couple weeks ago, and I was like photographing Emily. I used her camera, so we wouldn't have to like transfer the raws to each
oh,
other.
that's an SLR. That's not mirrorless.
And I know, and like she has like back button focus, and like I don't use back.
No.
Like, and I was like, how do I focus? How do I use this camera? Like, am I doing
vaguely
this
remember
correctly?
that.
Yeah.
Are you talking about here?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
At the
Yeah.
soft open. Yeah.
I think you asked me because I remember
Okay.
showing somebody. I'm like, oh, you pressed the back button.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it was a DSLR.
Yeah, I never used that.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah. What are you shooting on?
Like Sony.
Sony. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And
it's time for her to go.
Yeah. Can you just like, all right, everybody, thank you so much for joining the podcast.
I when I shot Fuji, I shot back button focus because
Yeah.
there was a button on the back that said AF on, and I was like,
Yeah.
cool, that's easy to remember. And then I moved to Canon, and there's the same button exists, and I actually am trying to do like trigger autofocus now, but I'm always pushing that button. Like it's like just ingrained in me.
Yeah.
at
Second
this point.
nature. Yeah.
I just like tap my screen. It's like I'm playing a game on my phone, you know? I'm like, click,
I
click,
just do
click,
like the
click.
half press.
Yeah. Yeah, no, because I have like on the Sonys, like I have like my eye tracking enabled and stuff. And so as like if I press and I lock on like the tracking, if they move towards me or away from me, it'll just like follow.
Right.
And like adjust
Oh,
as
yeah.
needed, which is really nice.
Yeah. Sony's got a killer tracking mode.
Yeah, it does.
I recently turned that on. Was it on yours? I forget whose I turned that on, but it was, I think it's called like autofocus servo.
Okay.
And basically you turn that feature on and it'll track whether they come forward and backwards.
yeah.
Maybe it was Sonia.
on the Canon.
Yeah, because she has an
Probably-
R.
Who?
As a Sonia. I
Oh.
forget who I turned it on for, but they had no idea that feature existed.
It's amazing.
is.
Game changer. I feel like for me, it's saved me a lot of trouble of like, because I did try like the back button focus thing when I first switched to Sony,
Yeah.
because I shot Nikon before that. And yeah, I was having like a good amount of images that would like slightly be out of focus. And I started getting like super pissed about it. I was like, what the hell, man? Like, I know
Yeah.
I know how to use this camera. I know what
Right.
I'm doing. And like, I would just like watch YouTube videos on like different settings, and like I would customize like the body to be exactly like have the features that I wanted on it.
We were doing that earlier
Yeah,
today.
it's like a game changer.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a huge thing that people miss out on though. Like when people are photographing, is
Yeah.
like they know how to photograph and they know like, you know, basic settings and stuff, but then they don't think about like customizing the body.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
a bunch of custom features on mine.
Yeah.
One thing for my camera, the Canon R5, you have to press like mode, info, and then scroll to get into video mode, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
terrible. So like I have like this one button that'll just immediately switch it.
Yeah.
And like the little things that you could customize on any camera, I feel will make you that much better because you're adapting that camera to you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We the camera next to you is like a cinema camera, and it has, I think, what, 15 buttons on the outside of it or something like that. And
15 buttons.
Yeah, we sat down this morning and started like a 3-hour course on like mastering settings on this camera, just so that we know.
Most of them are things you need in a cinema like movie set, like quick features like zebras, white balance. Then you've got like the whole thing. But the thing that we're looking at and trying to master is we want to dial it in for weddings for our stuff.
Yeah.
So like, even though it says like, you know, zebra or peaking on there, that's probably going to change to a custom, you know, button. But which is what we're trying to do, is we're trying to build the camera around our workflow.
Yeah.
I just want to film a wedding in Iceland. I just want to film an Iceland elopement.
Oh my gosh.
Do you need any behind the scenes?
I already invited him.
Yeah,
I already told him. I was like, are you available? You want to come?
I am too.
Yeah.
It's a Wednesday and a Thursday.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I'm currently waiting for my passport to show up, and it's supposed to show up like right in the beginning of September.
Damn. So. How long ago did you put in for it?
June 26th.
Okay.
I want to say.
Okay.
He wasn't going to do it.
A little bit of a waiting period.
It's like 13 weeks.
Yeah.
So I had told him, I was like, if we go to this wedding up in like near Canada, we can go to Canada and like explore it, but I will only go with you to this wedding if you go sign up for your passport.
Yeah.
And so he did.
Me.
Good.
And then I signed up for the wedding.
It's good to have a passport.
It is good to have a passport.
Yeah, I got mine right before COVID. Like
nice work.
Like 2 weeks before it was announced.
Wow.
Dang.
And so, and I did like a rush delivery or whatever. So I think it was like 4 weeks for me to get mine. But like during COVID, like the backlog of passports was months.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
There was a point where we couldn't even get our, what is it called?
Like your
license.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like 4 months with not suspended, but like an expired license.
Yeah.
And they made it like, oh, you won't get in trouble kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like, it just blows my mind. Like the toilet paper.
Oh my
like,
God.
geez.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That was insane.
What a life that was.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, isn't like sriracha like MIA right now?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Sriracha is shortage right now.
It's been like this for like months, I feel like.
Wow.
All summer.
You can get it at Trader Joe's.
Oh.
Trader Joe's sriracha. It's
Okay.
still there.
Wow.
But like classic sriracha.
Yeah.
It's hard
because we
hell to
have
find.
the Trader Joe's siracha, and I'm like, I have it at
Oh
home.
yeah, they have it. They have it in droves there, but the real sriracha, like real stuff.
Yeah. I haven't seen
get
it
it.
in a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't gotten my second set of keys to Sarah's new car because they're on a shortage.
Wait, what? A key shortage?
Yeah.
A chip shortage.
Oh.
It's the same as like, I don't know if you know this, but like during COVID, used car prices like went through the roof.
Oh yeah.
Well, and new cars, like
Yeah.
there was a shortage of new cars, and that's all because of like a microchip shortage.
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't know.
So we
that.
only have one set of keys.
This has gone so off the rails. It's probably a good place to wrap it up. Unless you have more, you only asked us one question.
Oh yeah, I do have another question actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it. One more question and then we'll
Have
wrap it up.
either of you used a drone for your work?
No, but it's the next. I think it's the next piece of gear on the list, probably.
So I've used drones in the past, and I had a Mavic, or what is it called? The Mini Pro.
Yeah.
The one that's like 250 grams or whatever.
Yeah.
Only because I didn't want to get a license after the whole license thing. And then I ended up selling it just because I knew it was going to be mostly for video stuff.
Yeah.
And then two, I was like, I'm not really a drone photographer.
Yeah.
But now that I'm like where we are in our careers, I'm like, I probably should get a drone now.
Yeah.
I think a drone is definitely, I mean, it's like the one thing missing from the arsenal. We've got the cinema camera, we've got the video cameras, we've got the gimbal.
Yeah.
Like,
We've got all the lenses that we need. Minus like one or two that we could get.
We really need an 85, and Canon
15
really
15
needs
to
to
35?
make a 35.
Oh, the 35?
There's no 35. There's no like pro line 35 for Canon right now.
Okay. Wait, what?
Pretty dumb.
That's wild. I
Yeah.
feel like that's like such like a standard.
It is. It should.
But it's in the
absolutely.
works. It's a 35. It's RF 35 f 1.2, which is going to be
okay, even
sick.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least it's like 1.2.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
if it's at 1.2, I can wait a little.
All,
Yeah.
all
That's
of
fine.
Canon's like pro glass is 1.2,
Yeah.
not 1.4, which
Yeah.
is a weird thing to get used to. Coming from my last full frame system was Sony,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, it's a whole different world.
Except that one. That one's an f2.
Okay.
Well, he hates on that lens so much.
I hate that lens so much. We can talk about that for a second. Would you like to know my thoughts on this lens over here? So the lens that's recording George is a 28 to 70 f2.
Okay.
So it's like
usually 24 to 70 is the lens.
It's normally a 24 to 70 2.8, right?
Yeah.
So you get that extra almost full stop of light.
Yeah.
Which it makes beautiful pictures. It's incredibly sharp. It's an amazing lens.
Yeah.
But
it weighs as much as a fucking house. It is so, look at the thing. It's huge and it's heavy and it's awful. It's awful. I took it to a wedding.
I love it, man.
I took it to a wedding 2 weeks ago as I took that and I took the 70 to 200 and that's all I took. And I regretted it immediately.
Oh yeah.
I wanted
back pain.
He texted me. He texted me saying like, dude, this is all I've been using. It's a great lens, but I'll probably never use it again.
Yep.
Oh.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your go-to then?
What is your go-to?
Like, what's your absolute favorite?
My favorite lens is probably the 85 1.2.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Canon's 85 1.2 is fucking bananas.
And they have two versions of that, which is weird, but
good to know.
Yeah, mine would be the 50-1.2.
The 50-1.2 is definitely, they're like right next to each other for me.
I think the
50 is more practical.
Yeah, I was going to say the 50 lets me kind of get away with more certain things.
Yeah.
More certain things?
Sure.
More things. Yep. Certain things.
Certain things more.
Yeah. The 85, it's full like circle. You really just have to be kind of far away.
Yeah.
So
I love the images that come out of the 85. Like the rendering on the 85 is incredible. The compression's incredible. The depth of field is stupid.
I bet.
It's ridiculously sharp.
The sharpness.
Yes, it's not the most practical.
Coming from an EF, the older style lenses, it's like they were amazing lenses, but like how could you get sharper with the RF? And that's what kind of blows my mind.
How do they do it?
No idea.
What is your go-to?
Oh, mine is like really obscure. So
okay,
I kind of have two. It's hard. Okay. So like I have a bunch of random lenses, but I think my favorite, so I have a 24. It's like a Zeiss 24. I like love that thing. And I have a Zeiss 55. I don't even have
that lens.
I don't even have a 50 millimeter. I just have a 55.
Wow. Yeah. The 55 1.8, right?
Yeah.
That's like a Sony staple.
It's so good.
Low key Sony staple.
Nice.
It's better than the 50.
Yeah.
Better.
The G Master 50.
Yeah.
So
it's got a lot of character.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And it's so tiny.
Yeah.
It's great.
One thing that I'm trying to, well, I guess I can't bring it back. I was going to say, we never really switched cameras and went out to a real shoot like we planned. And I was going to ask, like, hey, we should do that.
Back when I was on Fuji as well.
Yeah, but now he's not on Fuji.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and now if we switch cameras, it would just be like, hey, you have less megapixels now.
Hey, your color science is the same.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not as exciting.
Anyways.
All right. Well, I think that, this is the longest episode we've done in a minute.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
So thank you so much for coming.
Yeah. Thank you for
having me. This has been awesome.
Me.
Very informative.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking time out of your day to come here and chat with us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you for making us realize that we don't want to grind the way that we grind anymore.
I just want to take it easy now.
Yeah. Completely change your business.
Yep. Yeah. It's time for an overhaul.
We should sell the studio.
Let's shut this shit down. Oh, man.
Yeah, you want to say your famous words?
Well, Oshen, where can the people find you?
Oh, find me on Instagram at Oshen Davidson Photo or OshenDavidson.com.
Tight. We'll link it.
Nice.
It'll be linked.
Thanks.
George, where can people find us?
NewWavePDX.com.
NewWavePDX.com. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Good
thank
night.
you.
Good night.
That's it. That's a wrap.
Woohoo. Okay.